Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. Today we are going to be talking about artificial intelligence.
Hey, get out of my chair. We have about 6 months left before nothing is real, or at least that's the consensus of most of the experts. We have around 6 months before we are faced with the problem of what they call indistinguishability. That is, you're not going to be able to tell what is real and what is fake. Deepfake and AI technology is progressing at such a rapid rate that this is going to become a huge problem in 2026. The solution is going to come at the expense of your privacy, because governments are going to say, hey, if you want to access the internet and you want to post on the internet, in order for us to know whether or not you're a real person, we're going to need your identity, we're going to need your data, and we're probably even going to need your biometrics. Let's talk about it.
Consume, obey, get marching. Consume.
So, like you guys, Grandma has come to me and shown me the little video of the raccoons dancing on the trampoline at night and thought it was real, because most people are naive to how good AI is actually getting. Every day, people send me videos that after a little bit of scrutiny, I determined that no, that's actually fake. However, sometimes they get past the CP bullshit filter. Now, I was listening to somebody I thought was a real person, Yanis Varoufakis. He is a financial commentator, a former Greek politician, fairly well known. I sent a video to a friend of mine saying, hey, you should watch this video. Very insightful. This is Yanis at his best, I thought. It was so dense with information. I thought, man, I'm really stupid. Yanis is much smarter than me, and English isn't even his first language. My buddy listened to this for a while, and he said that at one part of the video, the guy stopped speaking in his Greek accent, and the AI must have screwed up, and he started speaking in his American accent.
And when defaults accelerate, the losses will cascade through the system in ways that regulators don't fully understand. Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, the largest bank in America, said he expects problems in private credit and warned there could be hell to pay if retail investors gain access to this asset class.
So it was determined, of course, that this was in fact AI. And if you go down to the description, this is what it says. This is a fan-made channel that is not affiliated with Yanis Varoufakis. What that means is that they're monetizing using his likeness to say things that he might not necessarily agree with. The videos are inspired by Varoufakis' public statements because we want to make money. They left that part out. It's for educational and informational purposes only. A synthesized voice is used and does not belong to Yanis. Visual lip syncing and dubbing narration are included solely to enhance clarity, create a cinematic experience, and make the content more engaging. Our aim is to present Varoufakis' economic and geopolitical perspectives in a way that is accessible and understandable to a wider audience. We also strive to make his ideas available to viewers who are deaf and hard of hearing. Of course, they got to appeal to disabilities to make themselves seem morally righteous, even though they're just a bunch of con artists, because they know that the majority of people, 90% of people, aren't going to go down and read this description. And that is proven when you go and read the comments on these videos. One comment said something like, why does your voice change at such and such timestamp? But there wasn't any accusation that it was AI, which clearly that was a dead giveaway it was. If people are so credulous to what is mostly innocuous information, what happens when that information is more harmful? What happens when it's politically charged, as it most certainly will be? Well, obviously, we know that society is already very divided as a result of social media and the polarizing algorithms. This is only going to make it 10 times worse. Projections show that consumer grade and even hardware detection technology will be dropping below 5% reliability by the end of 2026. Advances in physics-based rendering and style transfer are about to make full indistinguishability the default. That's the word of the day. Indistinguishability. The fact is, visual inspection is dying. And the experts are saying we only have 6 to 12 months left before not only is it indistinguishable to the naked eye, but to the advanced detection systems. I also wanted to do this because although this hasn't happened to me yet, people have sent me funny AI generated videos using Sora 2.
How's it going, guys? Canadian Prepper Nate here. Yes, the big guy. Today we're turning this freeze-dried filet mignon from freeze-dried wholesalers into a 5-star meal, even in a grid-down situation.
But eventually there's going to be impersonation and possibly defamation. And this is going to be something that affects everybody. So I just want people to know that I will only ever upload on this channel and the Prepper News channel. And in the run-up to the government rolling out digital ID and forcing it on all of us, we're going to have some sort of way to authenticate this so that you guys know who you're talking to. But there's also a flip side to that. It casts doubt basically on anything that you're seeing. So it's all ambiguous and open to interpretation. So a real video might come out and somebody can just say, well, that's just AI. That wasn't me. How are you going to prove it? Obviously, there might be some forensic tools to do that, but in the public's mind, there's plausible deniability. This is all made worse by the fact that most of the social media platforms nowadays have the infinite scroll feature. People are less and less consulting with the description of videos or even going into the comments section. If you're on a short reel, it's very unlikely that you're going to actually be going and reading the descriptions. In fact, it's harder to access the description on a short content video. The whole purpose is to keep you engaged, keep you attentive. They don't want you to break it up by going and interacting with the video. So this makes it less likely that you're going to scrutinize the information. Considering that most people, quite frankly, are uncritically minded NPCs, can you imagine how easily this technology is going to be weaponized? The most important piece of emergency gear you can own is food. You can't stockpile enough of this stuff. This is going to be currency after disaster strikes. Freeze-dried food is far and away the preferred source of sustenance for preppers. It lasts 25 years, it retains all the nutrients, and unlike dehydrated and canned, the texture is amazing. Freeze-Dried Wholesalers has decades worth of experience in the food industry, serving everyone from the boots on the ground warfighters all the way up to the high command in nuclear submarines. If you want hundreds of varieties of different freeze-dried food, go through the link in the description below and use the coupon code that's exclusive to Canadian Prepper viewers that will give you 15% off. I would recommend every few weeks or a month, buy a few varieties, put them in your pantry, set it, and forget it. And if you ever come on hard times, you know that in the very least, you have high quality food at the ready. As I said, the experts are claiming that indistinguishability will become a problem by the end of 2026, if not much sooner. Now, forensic labs can still catch fakes today, using heartbeat-induced skin color, changes in embedded metadata, and watermarks, hitting a 98% accuracy in controlled tests. But those detection rates are collapsing. So the professional tests, which require a lab and a bunch of very skilled people, that's still around 98% and falling. For the rest of us, the detection tools that are available, it's around 5%. So basically, this creates an arms race, a game of cat and mouse, where it's the bad guys who are trying to make deepfakes and AI impersonation, and the detectors and the forensics teams who are trying to identify it. The bad guys are probably, in this respect, always going to be a few steps ahead. So because me and you are not going to be able to discern in any way if what we're seeing is real, we're going to need somebody to tell us if it's real. That is when reality policing rears its ugly head. But who gets to determine what's real and what's not? We're switching from human judgment to tech verification in the next few months, whether we like it or not. Now, what can you do for the next few months in order to try to discern what's real and what's not? Well, I guess there's a few little tricks, but honestly, this ain't gonna work for much longer. They say that if you zoom in to the eyes, there can be some odd saccadic movements, which is eyes moving back and forth. Real eyes have tiny blood vessels and wet reflections that shift naturally. And deepfakes will actually turn your teeth into a smooth white blob or repeat edge artifacts. Now, one of the best methods of visual detection is if you turn the volume down and you just watch it muted. You'll notice that there's some oddities. You don't really see it when the volume's on because you're distracted by what you're hearing. But if you mute the sound and you watch the lips alone, but if the mouth looks slightly off or a little too robotic perfect, that's usually a dead giveaway. Also, if the person seems to just be doing this filibuster, I mean sitting in the same spot, speaking with pinpoint precision for extended periods of time, which seem inhuman, it probably is. Another trick is to scrub the timeline a bit. Make it go fast forward and in reverse. Notice in the space that surrounds the subject. Fake backgrounds are going to shimmer a little bit. Objects might appear and vanish. So what is the societal fallout if nothing can be determined to be real by individuals? We're going from an era where everything was real until proven otherwise. Now we're in an era where everything is fake until proven otherwise. This really will be the apogee of digital postmodernism. Impersonation, defamation, weaponized division, all of it explodes in 2026. Nobody reads descriptions, everybody just reacts and reposts. So, what is the solution going to be? Digital CAPTCHA or something more ominous? Governments are already stepping in to varying degrees across the world. There is one problem with government intervention. Right now, there is an AI arms race. So the governments of the world don't want to do anything that might disrupt their nation state getting a technological edge over the competition. In the US, they have new federal and state laws criminalizing non-consensual deepfakes. But Donald Trump's executive order that was just signed on December 11th in 2025 is designed to crush state-level rules that stifle innovation. Innovation being put ahead of the quality of information. Now in the EU, the AI Act treats deepfakes as high risk starting in 2026. This is going to force machine-readable labels and provenance tracking. Provenance is basically a fancy word for a record of ownership. Where did that piece of content originate? China has been slightly more proactive. They've required visible and metadata labels on all AI content since September of 2025. And as you can appreciate, everything that might go against the politics of the reigning party is quickly erased. Now, the tool that most of these countries is betting on to mitigate this problem is something called C2PA. These are basically invisible content credentials. Here's how it works. The Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity, or C2PA, provides an open technical standard for publishers, creators, and consumers to publish the origin and edits of digital content. Think of it like a nutrition label for reality. Now, in theory, this technology should work. However, there is a draconian aspect to its implementation, because the next logical step for mandating C2PA is mandating who can create it. What we're talking about here is the inability to upload content onto the internet unless you prove that you're a real human being. This means digital ID. This is tantamount to taking a breathalyzer or pissing in a cup every time you want to go online. Inevitably, platforms are going to have to require this for video uploads because that's the only way you're going to be able to prove that something is human. So what started off as amusing AI slop is ultimately going to beget the end of anonymity and more centralized government control. So what does this mean for us? It means that we need to be exceptionally critical of what we're viewing from this point forward. I'm talking about today forward, because every week it gets better and better. Let's just say a theoretical situation. You get a message on your phone and it looks like Donald Trump, and he's telling you that nuclear weapons are inbound. Could you imagine the level of pandemonium and chaos that could be caused by something like that? The potential for hacking and social disruption is going to be absolutely immense. In the next few months, we are entering uncharted territory. It's going to become impossible for you as an individual to verify whether or not what you're seeing is real or whether it's a fabrication. Ultimately, the government will have the final say on what is real or what isn't. Now, this is usually the part of the video where I propose a solution, but beyond just being excessively critical, I don't have a solution. Is this going to lead to a mass exodus from social media? Unfortunately, I don't think so. I think people are going to be perfectly content playing in the Matrix. And what could potentially happen is people don't care if what they're seeing is real or not. The current social media and infinite scroll algorithms have caused so many social problems Imagine that amped up on steroids times 100. That is what the AI metaverse is going to be. Perhaps this is all the more reason to have a plan to get off the grid indefinitely. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Canadian Prepper out.
The best way to support this channel is to support yourself by gearing up at CanadianPreparedness.com, where you'll find high-quality survival gear at the best prices, no junk, and no gimmicks. Use discount code PREPPINGGEAR for 10% off. Don't forget, the strong survive, but the prepared thrive. Stay safe.